At the minute, data seems to be the next big thing, big data. So I'm delighted to introduce Jace Bell, who's hopefully going to bring some Yorkshire plain speaking and some harsh reality to the topic. Jace.
Good morning. Good morning. There we go. Have I got slides? Have I got slides? Have I got slides? Or shall I just busk it? Have I got slides? Have I got slides? No, I haven't. And thank you. Okay, the reality of big data is that my PowerPoint presentation doesn't work, so I'm going to busk it. That'll be fun. So, fortunately, I have the second technology equivalent of the index card, which will get me by, and a camera pointing at me, which is even better, because I'm going to use that later. Right, my name is Jason Bell. Everyone calls me Jace Bell because there's a photographer called Jason Bell, and we don't want to get the two mixed up. The reality of big data, that's nice. Heckle via Twitter, please do, okay? Hashtag for you. So the reality of big data, I've been working with it for a couple of years on and off. I advise people about it. I tend to harp on about it. If you're on Twitter and you follow me, I do apologize. We learned some things along the way, okay? And especially when it comes to what's happening in Northern Ireland at the minute. First things first. What problem are you trying to solve? A lot of data projects don't start with a problem. It's just, we've got this data, what can we do with it? That's not going to do anything. You need a problem to solve, yeah? For most SMEs in Northern Ireland, it's not a case of having big data, it's just data, okay? Might be sales data, might be location data, not necessarily open data, I'll get onto that shortly. But big data implies data that can't be stored in one physical location. It has to be put elsewhere and mined in such a way that takes tons and tons of computing power to do so, okay? I argue that most people in Northern Ireland do not have that. Give it 5 years, we probably will. There's probably 2 or 3 organizations I can think of off the top of my head that do have big data. Okay? For the rest of us, we probably don't have it. Big data is a marketing term. An overused marketing term at that. Okay? Not to be confused with analytics. 2 different things. And machine learning is essentially different. Machine learning has been going on for 50 years. So without a question, you are actually wasting your time, okay? The most important thing with big data projects, big data, is stakeholder buy-in. It's not necessarily a technology thing. It's a business thing. So I've got this data. I want to figure out what are my top performing customers. I've got all this location data. Where do my customers check in the most? Questions, okay? What's the most searched on tweet in our Twitter stream? What's the most used hashtag? Is anyone heckling me yet? No? Good, 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 good. So think data projects. Think about the data that you have and what you could possibly get out of it. And it's not just a case of handing the data to a technical guy and saying, do that. It's stakeholder buy-in. It comes from finance, it comes from marketing, it comes from the top. Technology is just what we use at the bottom to actually get the stuff done, okay? Number 2, the harsh reality is data will need cleaning. And anyone who runs databases will agree with me. So roughly 80% of your project will be cleaning the data. Is anyone from Dataxis in the room? No one from Datactics in the room? That's a shame. Okay. Camera. Datactics, hello. Can I have a public API, please, to do some data cleaning? Doesn't have to do everything. I know you've got IP, but it'd be really nice and everyone would use it. It'd be great. Thanks. Had to get it off my chest. Data's dirty. Look. Britney Spears, searched on Google, along with about 300 other variations on the name Britney Spears. I'm wearing a Britney mic. There you go. Hadoop on its own will not give you the answers. For those that don't know what Hadoop is basically a tool that enables parallel processing over huge volumes of data. Okay? Hadoop is not the thing that gives you the answers. Okay? So when we say we'll use Hadoop, that's fine. That's all right. It's the big data version of putting it in the cloud. Who's going to openly admit they've said the words putting it in the cloud? Thank you, one person. I know more people have said it in this room. So if anyone says, will Hadoop just give you the answers, or putting it in the cloud, this is what you seriously should do. You should spit on one or both of their feet and bite your thumb while shouting the fig of Spain. Doesn't happen. Hadoop does not give you answers. Good queries give you answers. Good algorithms give you answers. Hadoop on its own doesn't. All Hadoop does is take data in, distribute it out, and wait for the answers, processed answers, to come back. That's it. Excuse me. Do you actually need Hadoop? Probably not. Probably not. Or if you do, you could probably do it on one node. If anyone, I'll explain. Hadoop runs on one or more nodes. It's basically one or more machines, okay? And if you run it on more than one machine, they all talk to each other, so they all synchronize and they all know what they're doing, basically. That's it. Most people, one node, be fine. A well-crafted algorithm will probably be giving you better answers, okay? Especially the likes of decision trees, very, very handy. Sort of mocked about 20 years ago, but now coming back in fashion. So for an example of a decision tree, let's get a nice segment of data here. Hands up who had coffee this morning? Most of you. Hands up who, keep them up. Right, hands up who had coffee this morning and likes Lady Gaga. Okay, there's my segment, 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Divide and conquer. You can glean most of your information on a key decision. Okay? It's about knowing the right questions. And refining the algorithms as we go along. It's not always about big data. It's about knowing the right data to use and how to use it. Anyone know the song? Go on, Tom. Very good, sir. Give him a round of applause. Give Tom a round of applause there. Data changes. Data horrifically changes, especially when you don't own it. Especially when you don't own it. Good example, camera again. Owen McFadden, watch. TransLink, can you open up your public timetable data, please? I know you are, Owen, I know you are. I'm just helping you. There's loads of developers that want to produce really good apps that will help Northern Ireland. That's all I'm saying. Thanks very much. If you feel your data has value, keep hold of it. No one's asking you to open data for absolutely everything, okay? The whole push is, we've got to open our data up, and I agree with Mayor Savage completely. For some social purposes, it works great. For some, it doesn't. And some you want to retain it, especially financial data. You know, you want to retain the first 15 seconds of financial data. Anything after that's old anyway, you can't use it. But the first 15 seconds, that's where the key stuff is. Yeah? So you keep hold of it. You don't tell anyone else about that. If your data passes over the creepy line, then definitely retain it. The creepy line, best way of explaining this, 2002, a marketing team at Target supermarkets in the US went up to a nice chap called Adam Poole, I think he was called, and they said, is there any way we can find out whether one of our customers is pregnant before they know it? Creepy? No! And they did. They managed to do it. They managed to whittle down, based on the previous baskets of mothers that had signed up for the baby club, they narrowed it down to 25 items and noticed the changes in the basket at the time. So ladies stopped buying scented products. And then they whittled it down to 25 items, and they could figure out whether someone was pregnant just by those 25 items. And that's great. But it backfired. And what happened was that a gentleman walked into a Target store one day and said, why are you sending my 16-year-old daughter baby coupons? To which the manager just went, dunno. So, you know, there's big apologies. 5 minutes remaining. Big placards. So if you're standing up here, there's a big 5 minutes, get off. So the manager apologized profusely, as you would. He was totally dumbfounded. He didn't know what was going on, you know, and so the whole thing sort of calmed down a bit. About 2 or 3 weeks later, the man, bless him, went back to the store and said to the manager, I owe you an apology because there's some information that's come to light. And his daughter was actually pregnant. But the supermarket figured it out before he did, or was told. So there is a creepy line. Tesco do it as well. Anyone in the room that hasn't got a Tesco club card? You're either foreign or paranoid. Yeah. Skills are in short supply. Now, this is a serious one. Is Mary McKenna still in the room? No, she liked it? She's liked it. Okay. Data scientists are about as rare as finding a leprechaun with a pot of gold that's just €1 millions. There aren't many about, okay? And a data scientist is a mixture of a mathematician, a programmer, a business consultant, and a graphic designer. Do you know anyone that fits the bill? No, neither do I. So, you work with what you have, and you collaborate with what you haven't. And for the likes of graphic designers and programmers, look towards Digital Circle, because there's loads of them. And they're all happy to help. Obviously, you have to pay them, but they're all happy to help. And I think collaboration is going to be the key for any data project in Northern Ireland. The number of data scientists, rare. And it will be an outsourced thing if you want a proper data scientist. Probably to either India or Silicon Valley. The best way to learn this stuff is play with the data. Set some time aside. Have a good play around with it. You don't have to go and get degrees, PhDs, and all the rest of it for data science. The tools are now supportive enough. There's good sets of APIs and tools out there to start doing decent data science. And like I've already said, collaborate with everyone that you possibly can, yeah. And I'm going to skip and say thank you very much. I'm done. Thank you.